Hello everybody and welcome to the next presentation. It is called Becoming a Better Reader. Please read over these points because I'm going to give the presentation, but I'm going to just skim over it and talk about different points briefly. In this presentation, we're going to talk about reading strategies. There are 5 that I'm going to discuss. Number 1, learn to read actively. Number 2, understand vocabulary and context. Number 3, look for point and support in what you read. Number 4, make inferences. Number 5, which is the last one, be aware of the writer's craft. Let's take a look at learn to read actively. When you read an article, the first thing you should look at is the title. Turn that title into a question. For example, if the title were gas prices are on the rise again, let's change it into a question. Well, why are gas prices on the rise again? Or what is happening in the world? By turning the title into a question, you've now given yourself the purpose or the reason why you're going to read the article. These are the answers as you read that you should look for. The next point to read actively. Read the selection through. Just take your time, read through it one time, trying to get the overall feel of it. Number 3, use what the book or articles give you. If you're looking at an article, look at the titles, the subtitles, because these are all clues or hints to help you understand what you're reading. Bold-faced words, we all know most of the time we see those in textbooks. Those are the most important. So look for the clues or the hints that the author is giving you. Next, after you've read the selection straight through one time, go back, reread the selection, but this time do some annotating, which means writing information down with a pen or a pencil. I usually write in the margins. And let me show you what a annotated key information looks like. This is a handout that you have on Blackboard, and annotating is also called reading with your pen. For instance, when you're reading, if you come across a part that you are not sure of or you're questioning, put a question mark in the margin. That way when you go back to your notes or you go back to the article, you know that you had trouble there with that part. And again, annotating, writing in the margins, writing or reading with a pen. Again, I will have a different presentation for annotating only. Number 2, understand vocabulary and context. If you're reading something, you do not want to stop and keep looking in the dictionary for words that you do not know. Most of the time, you can figure out what those words mean based on the context or the situation, the clues that are given to you, the situation in the sentence or in the whole paragraph. You don't want to keep stopping because it will take you a long time to cover the material. For example, Spanish is not my first language. But when I'm reading in Spanish, I do not look up every word I do not know. I try to make an educated guess based on the context of what that word will actually mean. Okay. Take a look here. Surreptitious. Does anybody know what surreptitious means? Well, let's take a look at an example. We're going to give you some context in order to figure out what the word means. Here's our example. Students naturally want to know what will be covered on a test. Instead of trying to find out by surreptitious means, it is often better to simply ask the instructors a direct question. So after reading that context, the sentence, would you choose A, straightforward, B, useless, or C, secret? What do you think surreptitious means? If you chose C, secret, you are correct. If you're asking a teacher a direct question, you're not trying to be secretive or to hide anything. So here they gave us the opposite of the actual word surreptitious. Direct, the opposite means surreptitious or secretive or secret. So again, context clues, try to use them, keep reading, and you will most of the time understand the vocabulary word that you did not think you knew previously. Number 3, look for point and support in what you read. When you're reading a paragraph, you want to look for the topic sentence or the main idea. If you're looking at a essay, you want to find the thesis or the central point. And I wanted to say this, and we've talked about this in my regular reading classes. Most topic sentences and thesis statements are stated, which means one sentence, it's very clear that that sentence is the thesis statement or a topic sentence for a paragraph. But sometimes authors or writers like to make them implied, which means they're not stated, which means we as readers have to infer. We cannot choose just one sentence. We have to use the whole paragraph to figure out what the main point is. Other clues for understanding or finding the topic or main ideas or the thesis statement is to read the paragraph and look and see what reasons, examples, details, facts, quotations, or personal experiences they give. These can oftentimes lead us back or give us clues to what the point of the whole paragraph or essay is about. So again, look for the point, the topic, or the thesis, and look for the support, the examples, or the evidence they give us. Number 4, make inferences. Again, like I said up here, some thesis statements are not stated, so then we have to infer their meanings. They are implied, they are not stated. This is a little harder to do. We have to make an educated guess based on the context the writer's giving us and based on our own prior knowledge to understand what the real thesis statement or topic or point of the paragraph is. To me, I always try to write with stated topic sentences or stated thesis statements because it helps me become more organized, and I think it also helps the reader understand what I'm trying to say better. So in my class, please try to always have stated topic sentences or thesis statements. I don't like implied or non-stated. We'll go over that more later. Number 5, be aware of the writer's craft. What do I mean by writer's craft? Techniques authors use to communicate their ideas. Number 1, introductions and conclusions. When you're writing a thesis, the first paragraph is the introduction. How is the author going to get our attention? We're going to learn there are many ways to do that. But for example, one way is they can tell us an interesting story, or they can ask us questions. And if they ask questions, in the essay they will give us the answers. Number 2, also, how do we know they're communicating their ideas? The support they use. Are they giving reasons, examples, quotations, personal experiences, details, or facts? This will help us also understand the author's technique. For example, if they keep saying because as a reason, we will probably know that this author is writing a cause and effect essay based on the reasons or the clues given. Next, the author will choose the pattern of an organization. I just talked about cause and effect, but another part of pattern of organization or text structure, like I like to call it text structure. How is the text or the article built? What kind is it? Take a look here. If we were reading an article and we saw like, similar, just as, different, but, or however, the pattern we would probably think is, oh, this is a compare and contrast essay. That will help us understand what we're reading if we know right away what the pattern or the text structure is. Next is tone. How does the author feel? Are they being funny? Are they being serious? Are they angry or are they friendly? Or are they writing in a very formal manner or an informal manner? Next is purpose. Purpose. We've talked about the acronym PI before in another presentation, but P stands for persuade, I for inform, and E for entertain. And then, of course, we could do a combination of the purposes above. So again, acronym PI. Why are you writing this? Are you trying to persuade me? Are you trying to inform me? Or are you trying to entertain me? Then we have audience. When we're writing, we need to know who are we writing for? Who is our audience? How much background knowledge do they have on a subject? Do we need to give them a lot of background knowledge to help them understand the rest of the essay? Or are we just solely writing for the teacher? In my class, obviously, you're really going to just be writing for me. And titles. The author will sometimes, well, most of the time I do, use a title. So if you read the title of an article, most of the time the topic of the essay or the article will be within the title. So that's another good way to see what the author is going to write. Okay, everybody, that was an overview of reading strategies. Please read this over a little more carefully. You will have quiz questions on it. All right, thank you.